Alright, if you're a big Sonic fan, then you probably remember a few months back when we were blessed with giving Sonic Unleashed Recompiled. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically just a fan-made native PC port of the Xbox 360 version of Sonic Unleashed. And the reason this was such a big deal for a lot of people is because we've been wanting a native PC port of Sonic Unleashed for a long time. People have been asking for some type of remaster for the game, but we never got it. People just wanted the game to be ported over to PC, kind of like Generations and Lost World, but once again, that never happened. And it eventually got to a point where a bunch of people came together and made the Unleashed project for Sonic Generations, which basically just takes all of the daytime stages from Sonic Unleashed and puts it into that game. And while you could have emulated Sonic Unleashed, it's probably not the best thing to do unless you have like a very powerful PC. And even if you did have a powerful PC, you were still bound to run into issues. That's why when we got Unleashed Recompiled, it was such a big deal for so many people, to the point where it wasn't even just a big deal in just the Sonic community, but just the gaming community altogether. Because you're taking this game that was released on consoles that didn't run the absolute best and then putting it on PC where you could run it at 60 frames, 120, and have all these options to customize the game. It just made it like such a big deal for so many people. Now fast forward to July, and we've now gotten news that there's gonna be a Sonic 06 recomp in the works as well. The project is called Marathon Recompiled, and it's still in the works. Alright, like it's not gonna be complete for a very long time. Well, I wouldn't say very long time, but we just don't know when it's gonna be done. This is kind of similar to a Sonic Advance 2 decomp thing, where if you do manage to build it yourself, you can play it early, but just expect there to be a lot of bugs and a lot of things that are not in the game yet. And we actually do have some footage of the recomp playing, and all of this is coming from Isaac. I'm gonna leave their Blue Sky and their YouTube in the description because I'm sure they're gonna be posting a lot of updates as this game is, slowly but surely getting perfected. And yeah, it just looks like Retail 06. It's just running a bit more smoother now, being at 60 FPS. Now, when this does eventually get finished, I know there's gonna be this big talking point, being like, what's the point of this? We have Project 06 and that has so many bug fixes and new additions to the game that this seems kind of pointless. And to that I say it's just not true. As most of you know, Project 06 isn't going to have the hub worlds or a lot of the cutscenes or anything like that. It's just going to be mostly the stages, and I think Chaos X did mention that he's going to add the bosses in there as well. But if you wanted the full 06 experience, you're not going to get it with Project 06. But if you don't need the complete experience and you just want to play the stages, then okay, that's completely fine. But there are still a lot of things to consider about this game, like the fact that, it's 20 years old, or it's gonna be 20 years old next year. So that means there's a lot of new fans that have come to this series that have never played this game before, or just the fact that this is a good way to kind of preserve the original game, considering you can't really buy it off of anywhere else. And I mean, you could get it cheap on like eBay and places like that, but it's not available on places like PS4, PS5, or any of the modern Xbox systems. It's all stuck on last gen. And even though Project 06 is really good, the retail game does have some decent mod support. A big example is Legacy of Solaris, which basically adds in a bunch of new content, unused content, and it fixes a bunch of bugs that were in the original game. Now, of course, if that doesn't convince you that this recomp is a good thing, then fine, whatever. You could stick with Project 06, but I just don't think people should be having this argument of thinking like, oh, this is useless, we don't need this, when I feel like it's a much needed thing that we should have. And honestly, while it's asking for a lot, I hope we get more PC ports, like fan-made PC ports that is, of all these other Sonic games. I would love to see a native PC port of Shadow 05, even though we already have, Shadow the Hedgehog Reloaded. I still think having that would be really cool. The same goes for Sonic Free Riders. I know that game got a no controller patch like I think a year ago, but even still, that's a game that you would have to emulate, and Xbox 360 emulation isn't the absolute best. So I think this game having a native PC port would be really good, so you could play all 3 Rider games on the PC. And those are just 2 examples. There are a bunch of games out there that could benefit from being recompiled and decompiled. because you're giving these games that were originally just limited by their hardware, and you're giving them a second chance. So with things like Marathon Recompiled, Unleashed Recompiled, the Secret Rings remake that's still in the works, as well as the Sonic Advance trilogy having their decomps worked on, it really goes to show just how important these fan efforts at preserving the original games are. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap the video up here. Once again, I'm gonna leave Isaac's Blue Sky and his YouTube in the description. Make sure to check him out because I'm sure they're gonna be posting a lot of updates of this game and when it eventually is finished and released. And if I do find it, I think I'll also just leave a tutorial on how to actually build the recomp for this game. And with that, I'll see y'all next time.